Oliver, the portfolio of central services sounds something Orwellian. So can we just clarify, what exactly is your portfolio?
Sure. So the central services portfolio essentially is about enabling the rest of the council services to do their job. So it's the HR department, it's the legal department, it's all of those central services that sit within the council offices and administer the way we do business to ensure that the rest of the council can do theirs.
So if somebody from, for example, adult social care is looking at cuts and efficiency savings, I know they will go around to different departments and different key organisations. Who do you interact with on a day-to-day basis in the council?
Well, we've got a couple of directorates. There's the Change and Improvement Directorate headed by Richard Walthouse, and there's the Finance and Corporate Governance Directorate headed by Martin Hone. So those are the two teams that I work most closely with, and they are charged with, as I say, looking at departments like HR, looking at departments like legal, looking at the way we structure some of the contracts with third parties, and really, I guess our approach is threefold. First of all, we're looking to cut out waste from the way we do things. Secondly, we're looking to manage our suppliers better. And thirdly, we're looking to change the way we do things for the better.
So what have been the key efficiency savings that you have made so far?
Sure. So I mentioned 2 points there on working with third parties. An absolutely key part of that has been looking at how we work with agency and interim staff. I think we've got a pretty good story to tell on this so far, in that we were spending in 09-10 somewhere in the region of £8 million a year on agency staff. That's now projected to be down by about 25% to £6 million in this financial year. But also we knew that wasn't enough, and to get that spend down further, we needed solid management information, we needed a single provider of agency staff. So we took the decision to implement a single provider, a single agency that we could work with, so that we could contract out for agency staff centrally. And again, we think there are further savings there in terms of the markups that agencies charge for casual staff. But we also think as well that once we've got all of this detailed information on how services across the council are using agency staff, there's further room to save money. And the other project in terms of doing things better is the multifunctional devices. Now, I said at council this isn't one of the most glamorous announcements in the history of local government, but this is essentially about replacing all of those printers around the council offices with single devices where we can monitor usage and really get to grips with our spend on printing costs.
And is this one of the key factors? Once somebody starts looking at efficiency savings in your area, you think, what an awful amount of waste is going on?
Well, there is. I think there's an element as well of actually sometimes things aren't waste and we do need to do things. So, for example, with our stationery contract, we're spending about £400,000 a year on stationery. Now, we need to do that. Council workers can't work without pen and paper to do their jobs, but at the same time it's about spending that money more efficiently. So we're looking to make in the region of 10 to 15% savings on that stationery contract when we go out to tender. And I think changes like that are hugely important in terms of bringing down overall costs. They're things that we can't do without doing, but we need to do them in a better way.
Did you volunteer for this portfolio, or was it greatness thrust upon you?
Well, it's certainly something I wasn't expecting. I think, as with the progression of these things, if you have a chance to make things better at the council, it's something that you grab with both hands. And I think I've been really excited to get to grips with the portfolio and try and make some of these big changes that are needed in the way we do things.
You've been involved in that. You've been a council now for a couple of years.
Just over 2 years.
Still enjoying it?
Yeah, I am. I've certainly changed focus in the last 6 months or so. I think what's still very important, even when you're a cabinet member, is to realise that you're still here for the residents, and ultimately that's at the core of everything you do. So we still maintain very active surgeries, walking around, talking to residents, make sure that we pick up any cases that they're bringing to us. And I think it's still fantastically rewarding when you can really achieve results for residents.
You're a young man, if you don't mind me saying. How are Labour going to get more people like yourself involved in it and into council?
I think one of the interesting things over the next few years is how the cuts agenda starts to play its way around town halls across the country. I think people perhaps don't realise yet the scale of some of the things that are to come. And I think with that we might well see a bit of a resurgence in terms of the general level of interest in politics. Once you start to talk about local libraries, local leisure centres, these are things that are hugely important to people. And even if you don't see yourself as particularly political, there's something that have a huge impact on the area that you live. And I think that's ultimately the kind of thing that really does get people interested, involved and active in politics.
So where do we go over the next year with central services? When's the next key decisions to be made?
Sure. I mean, I think the future is about fundamentally changing the way we do business. I think we've made a lot of rapid cuts in response to the financial savings that we have to make. I think the future is about thinking far more broadly about changing the way we do things. So one figure that was quoted to me recently is that we currently have less than 1% of transactions with the council taking place online. Now that's potentially a huge opportunity in terms of changing the way that people interact with us, because if we get more of those interactions online, we can save a lot of money in terms of the administration costs and dealing with people, and actually it's better for residents as well, because they've then got 24-hour-a-day access to our services. I've got to say we're quite good at doing this in some ways already. So already residents can go online, they can report missed bin rounds, they can report fly tipping or other issues with their area, but I think it's about encouraging people to use those services more, and it's about really broadening the way we use those services.